Hello everyone, I am Miss Priyanka Sanjay Late, working as lecturer at Mula Education Society's Mula Rural Institute of Pharmacy Sone. In this presentation, I am going to discuss topic that is drug house management, part 2nd. We will discuss content of presentation, importance of purchasing, objectives of purchasing, purchasing procedures, methods of purchasing, selection of suppliers, credit information, tenders and types of tenders, contracts, storage. Firstly, we will discuss importance of purchasing. Important functions of material management. A proper purchase of material, sent merchandise and control of stock are of great importance in any business, that is manufacturer, wholesale or retail trade. In trading business, merchandise purchase must be of proper quality at an appropriate price, in proper quantities and at the proper time, not only to produce the raw material at the lowest price but also to reduce the cost of the final product. The following points are taken into considerations while purchasing of the materials. Objectives of purchasing: first, right source; second, right quality; third, right quantity; fourth, right price; fifth, right time; sixth, right place of delivery; 7. Right mode of transportations. We will discuss one by one. First, right source. The source from where the materials is procured must be dependable and capable of supplying items of uniform quality. The buyer has to decide about the proper source to procure the material. Second, right quality. Before purchasing the material, a sample should be procured and its quality determined. After verifying the right quality, the order may be placed with the suppliers for its purchase. Third, right quantity. It is an important factor in buying. While deciding the right quantity, factors such as price structure, discounts and availability of items are to be taken into considerations. Fourth, right price. The item should be purchased at right price. The right price does not mean the lowest price. For determination of the right price, the cost structures of the product is to be taken into considerations. Fifth, right time. For determining the right time of purchase, the lead time information is taken into consideration. Lead time means the total time consumed between the recognitions of the need of an item till its receipt for use. 6. Right place of delivery. The supplier should supply the items at the premises of the business. 7. Right mode of transportation. The goods may be supplied by road, rail or air. The mode of transportation is to be decided between the supplier and purchasers. Next point, purchasing procedures. The purchasing procedure means the sequence of steps in which purchase transactions is carried through. The purchasing procedure starts when it is felt that further supply of an item is required. The purchasing procedure generally involves the following stages. First, purchase request. Second, selection of the suppliers. Third, placing the order. Fourth, receiving and checking of material. Fifth, checking of invoice or bill. Sixth, recording of bills in books and 7. Releasing the payment to the supplier. We will discuss one by one. First, purchase requisitions. Whenever the existing stocks of an article approaches a minimum limit or the reorder level, the person in charge of the store leader fills the requisition forms and send to the purchase department. The purchase requisitions indicates the types, quantity and quality of the item to be purchased. Second, selection of the suppliers. A list of the items to be purchased is sent to various suppliers or tenders is invited through leading newspapers. On receiving the quotations from different suppliers, the comparative statements of all the quotations received is prepared. The suppliers which has quoted the lowest rate is generally selected. However, apart from the price, other relevant considerations like his ability to supply the required volumes, maintenance of quality of goods, ability to deliver the goods as per schedule and terms of payment are also taken into considerations. Third, placing the order. After the selection of the supplier, the order is placed on the standard purchase order form commonly known as supply order. The supply order gives the detailed specification of the items, quantity required, the price and other terms and conditions of the supply. It is signed by the authorized persons. The supply order is a legal document. Generally, 5 to 6 copies of an supply order are prepared. 2 copies are sent to the suppliers, who is expected to sign 1 copy as an acknowledgement and return it to the supply department. 1 copy is sent to store in charge. 1 copy goes to the account department and 1 copy remains with the purchase manager. Fourth, receiving and checking of materials. The materials which is supplied by the supplier is received and inspected for its quantity and quality. The goods are compared with challan from or invoice or the bill sent by the supplier. If the goods received do not conform the specifications on the purchase order, the goods are rejected and defects or deficiency, if any, recorded on the invoice or the challan forms. Fifth, checking of invoice or bill. If the goods are received in satisfactory conditions, the invoice or the bill is checked before it is approval for payment. The rates of various items charged in the bills and the other terms and conditions are thoroughly checked and compared with the supply order. 6. Recording of bills in books. The bills are then sent to the account section where the bills are entered into the account books. The receipt of damaged material, excessive material, short supply and supply of inferior quality of material, if any, is reported to the concerned authority for further necessary action. 7. Releasing the payment to the supplier. According to terms and conditions of the supplier order, the payment is released by the account sections to the supplier. However, in small organizations, the payment is released by the purchase department itself. Next point, methods of purchasing. There are 4 methods of purchasing. First, by inspections. Second, by sample. Third, by description. And fourth, by grade. We will discuss one by one. Let us see first by inspection. This is the oldest method of purchasing. Goods are thoroughly examined with regards to their quality and price structure. This method is still used in wholesale and retail business. Second, by sample. It is very common method of purchasing of goods. The sample of goods is supplied by the suppliers for its approval from the buyer. Buyer examine the sample and place the order for the supply of goods as per the quality of the sample approval. Third, by description. It refers to the purchase of goods made on the basis of descriptions of goods in the catalogs or price list of the supplier. Fourth, by grade. The goods which are standardized and graded are purchased in required quantity simply by maintaining their grades. For example, ISI Agmark, IP, BP, USP, etc. Next point, selection of suppliers. In government departments, public sectors undertaking and large business houses, the supply of all types of items of daily use are received through the suppliers who are in their approval list. This is done to ensure timely supply of required quantity. Prepare the approval list of suppliers. Questionnaire is sent to various suppliers. After receiving these questionnaires, the approval list of suppliers is prepared. The following points should be generally taken into considerations while preparing approval list. First, reputations of the suppliers in the market, business reputations. Second, financial conditions of the suppliers. Third, manufacturing capabilities of the suppliers. Fourth, capability of the supplier to supply at a short notice. Fifth, after sales services facilities provided by the suppliers. And sixth, terms and conditions of payment. Next point, credit informations. Definitions of credit, through which the items can be bought or sold without making cash payment. Whenever any sale deal is done between buyer and seller, the terms of payment is also finalized in order to avoid any misunderstanding at the latter stage. The sale of merchandise is done either on cash payment or on credit. In pharmaceutical marketing, 45 days credit facility is provided by many manufacturers to the wholesalers. This facility is not for new wholesaler in initial stage. A wholesaler usually gives a 21 days credit facility to its retailers in business. Nowadays, a substantial amount of trading involves credit. It is advantageous to both buyer and seller. When the sale is done on credit, it will certainly increase the sale, but it involves the risk of bad debits and delay payments. These problems can be avoided by many business organizations have accredits department which investigates the credit worthiness of each prospective customers. The following informations may be obtained about the buyer before selling the goods on credit. First, the characters of buyers. He should be honest, reliable, trustworthy, and having reputations for fairness and justice. Second, financial positions of the buyer. This is done to know the financial positions of the buyer in order to find its capacity to pay, debit, etc. Third, assistant liability of the firms. The information helps to judge its state of business. These informations can be obtained by doing through the financial statements of the firms, bank reference and salesman's report. Next point, tenders. Definitions of tenders. A tender or a quotation is a written offer to do a work or to provide a materials at a given price within a prescribed period and under specified conditions. In order to avoid the favoritisms during purchasing of goods from the market in government department, public undertakings and private sectors undertakings, the tenders are invited from the approval suppliers. Next point, types of tenders. Tenders are of following types. First, open tenders. Second, limited tenders. Third, single tenders. Fourth, oral tenders. And fifth, global tenders. We will discuss one by one. Let us see first open tenders. These tenders are called by advertisement when the source of supplies are many and total value of items to be purchased in large. The tenders are given in leading newspapers. After receiving the tenders from various suppliers, a comparative statement of rates as well as terms and conditions quoted by different firms is prepared. Generally, an order is placed with the firm which has quoted the lowest rate. The methods of purchasing goods through open tender is costly and time consuming. Second, limited tenders. The system is used only in those cases where the value of tenders is moderate. The tenders are invited only from those firms which are on the approval list of supplier. The main advantages of these methods are as under. First, the suppliers are well conversant with the items to be supplied. Second, the suppliers generally submit realistic quotations because they are regular supplier of those items. Third, there are less chances of any error in supplying the items of required specification. Fourth, there are chances of progressing reduction in price. Third, single tenders. When the items to be purchased are proprietary in nature or the order is to be repeated within a short period, the tenders is aimed only to a single supplier who is dealing with the item of specific specifications. Fourth, oral tenders. In case the suppliers are of minor characters and are urgently required, a person or a committee is deputed or to purchase the specified items from the market. After collecting the information regarding the price charge and quality of the products to be supplied from 3 to 4 suppliers, the items are purchased from the supplier which has quoted the minimum price of the specified items. Fifth, global tenders. The tenders are invited from all parts of world. These are for the large contracts of suppliers from foraging countries or when foraging collaborations is required in a proposed project. The tenders are invited from the various suppliers or firms which deals in the supply of items which are required to be purchased. The notice containing following informations is issued to call the tenders. First, name and detailed specifications of materials to be purchased. In it, the drawings of materials or particular make should be mentioned. Second, quantity to be purchased. Third, period of delivery. Fourth, earnest money to be deposited. Fifth, terms and conditions of purchase. 6. Date, time and place for receiving and opening of the tenders. The tenders are sent by suppliers in sealed envelope before the due date. The word tenders or quotations and its date of opening must be written on the top of the envelope. After opening the tenders is on due date and time in the presence of the representative of the suppliers. The purchase officers write on each tenders the serial number of tender, total number of tenders received and number of page in a particular tenders. Any correction or overwriting is also attested during that period in order to avoid any dispute at the later stage. A comparative statement is prepared from the tenders or quotations which are received. Generally, the orders is placed with the firm which has quoted the lowest rate. The factors like sample specifications make the guarantee period, period of supplies and other expenses like sale tax, packing and forwarding charges are also to be considered. Next point, contracts. Definitions of contracts. It is also called as purchase order or supply order. After the selection of supplier, a mutual agreement is done between the supplier and the buyer. This agreement is called contract. The buyer places an order with the suppliers to buy the specific products from the suppliers. It services as the basis for legal obligations to supply or accept a specific product to the various terms and conditions stated in it. While drafting an order to supply the goods, care should be taken that no ambiguity should be left, otherwise it will create the legal obligations to accept the goods and to pay the according to its terms and conditions. The following particulars are required to be mentioned in the contract, which is mostly in printed and type forms. First, supplier's names and address. Second, order number, date and the reference number. Third, the detailed specifications of the items and quantity order. Fourth, rate and the amount. Fifth, mode and date of delivery. Sixth, packing and forwarding instructions. 7. Mode of payment and the terms of payment. 8. Signatures of the official authorized to place order. Next point, storage. The drugs are stored in the drug store must be arranged in such a way that they are easily traceable as and when required. The medicines which are purchased from the market are stored in the drug stores to provide a uniform supply of drugs to the patients. The medicines are stocked in containers such as drums, boxes and on flexible racks and sleeves, etc. It must be ensured that the medicines which are stored in a drug store remain preserved during their storage. There should not be any damage due to high temperature or exposure to sunlight. The drugs are to be stored as per prescribed conditions of their storage. . Methods of storage. There are three methods of storage. First, according to manufacturer. Second, according to pharmacological action. And third, alphabetically. Let us see first according to manufacturers. The drugs are arranged in a drugstores manufacture wise. For example, the drugs manufactured by Galaxo India Limited are placed at one place, that is in one cupboard. Second, according to pharmacological action. In these methods, the medicines are divided according to their pharmacological action and drugs of one groups are placed at one place. For example, all analgesic drugs are placed in one cupboard. Likewise, similar drugs of other groups are placed together on a separate shelf or in a separate cupboard. Third, according to alphabetically. In these methods, the drugs are placed alphabetically. The drugs with first letter A are placed in one cupboard. Out of the above methods, the storing of drugs manufacture-wise is most popular and convenient method. The drugs are stored in such a way that the older stock must be sold first. The drugs having date of expiry may be arranged in such a way that can be sold before their date of expiry. This can be achieved by placing the old stock in the front and the fresh stock on the back side of it. Thank you.